Poverty and compassion. Colour. The border in the life of a human. Black or white, colour separates humanity. This was and is still present in society. Harlem Renaissance. This time or era was the base of Langston Hughes' work. This new time affected not just Langston but African Americans as a whole. Poverty and compassion. Two words that put together a picture of struggle and hope for the African Americans. The Harlem Renaissance shared many realities of the human struggle. The words poverty and compassion are merely adjectives to the Harlem Renaissance. Poverty signified the reality of the Depression era. Poverty affected the African Americans deeply and is still affecting them today in 2015. Compassion. A powerful theme to drive sympathy into a person's heart and mold a bond between people. The word compassion was so strong it was a motive for the African Americans to not back down from the struggle they face. Ballad of Roosevelt and Mother to Son. Both draw comparison to John Lee Hancock's The Blind Side, to an extent where all three texts are united with the same problem all African American people suffer. Hughes and Hancock's social context have been the driving focus of the themes poverty and compassion in their works. Langston Hughes, a man of great inspiration, a man born from the shadows and rose to the top, becoming a founding father of the Harlem Renaissance. The 1930s was a decade of great social unrest. Conditions were far from the American dream. This false hope perceived by the government influenced many people from different nations to seek opportunity in the land of the free during the Harlem Renaissance era. Hughes significantly expressed poverty in his poem The Ballad of Roosevelt. He also openly stated the lie of equality in American society. The Harlem Renaissance was a new beginning. It was a foundation to hope for the African Americans. It revived the cultural, social, and artistic background of the African Americans which was lost, and it meant that there was a fresh start for them, and a way to truly express their concerns through music, poetry, and novella. Poverty was an issue and is still an issue. The Depression era was the fuel to the word poverty. The conditions endured by both the African Americans and Americans were truly unbearable. Ballad of Roosevelt deeply states the poverty that the Hughes family went through in a way that is saddening. The pot was empty, the cupboard was bare. This quote forms a technique imagery. Imagery is created mentally when reading the words. This visual image also helps us understand the theme poverty easier. It literally states the cupboard was bare, the pot was empty. The reality of food being scarce or being way out of the family budget. This also emphasizes the condition of not just Hughes' family but America itself. The pot was empty directly implicates the fact that the lifestyle situation has altered, causing deep struggle for families. Cold winds blow and didn't have no place to go. The technique of rhythm best suits the quote because of the outlining of poverty. The statement of cold winds blow symbolizes the harsh environment that must have been faced because of the issue of housing. Poverty again underlines the reality of these conditions and is present when the words didn't have no place to go, causing sorrow. Mother to Son clearly states the compassion Langston's mother shares with him, motivating him to not fall down but to keep climbing. This is seen through the use of the extended metaphors and African American vernacular. Mother to Son also became a vital part of Langston Hughes' poetry portfolio, especially in the Harlem Renaissance, sparking hope in many African Americans and motivated them to reach for success and freedom and to not let their struggles overwhelm them. So boy, don't you turn back, don't you sit down on the steps, 'cause you find it is kinda hard, don't you fall now, for eyes still going, honey, eyes are still climbing. These lines emphatically express symbolism in a way that it just symbolizes hope and motivation. Compassion directly connects with Langston's mother, expresses her feeling of achievement for Hughes. Hughes also composes this in a way that she feels pity for him, and by motivating him, she wants him to achieve more than just a stereotype. The Blind Side, an amazing piece of work directed by John Lee Hancock, truly expresses the struggle endured by the African Americans, recognized easier by today's society. The presence of stereotypes and discrimination all culminate into a truly emotional work. The context, set in the early 2000s, follows Michael O'Hare's journey to stardom. Hancock cleverly presents this by adding setting and props from the early 2000s and by giving first-hand view to the ghetto and luxurious suburbs. Poverty and compassion are both part of a long list of themes prevalent in The Blind Side. Poverty really affects reflects Michael O'Hare's character, and compassion is found by the Tuohys. The quote by Michael, "I've never had one before." Leanne responds by saying, "What, a room to yourself?" Michael emotionally responds, "A bed." There is a close-up of Michael's face emphasizing his facial expression to be shy, emotional, and anxious. The most significant technique is the extreme close-up of Leanne's face, clearly showing the saddened look and the thought of being grateful for what she has. Poverty is shown in a way that Michael has never had a bed. This saddening statement also outlines the hardship he has endured as a child and also bringing sadness to Leanne. Another significant part of the film is the sense of unity at the football game, when Coach Cotton openly exclaims his love for Michael by saying, "This young man plays for my team, and I will defend him like he's my own son against you or any other." There is a close-up of Michael's face, clearly showing his joyous expression and the final feeling of fitting into a family. This connects to compassion because of Coach Cotton's concern over Michael and his outburst of acceptance for Michael. This also makes Michael feel wanted and to not be separated by race or colour. To conclude, both Langston Hughes' poems and John Lee Hancock's movie can be compared and contrasted. They both share similarities in expressing messages to the public and by separating common stereotypes. Both texts also explore common social things like poverty, unity, and discrimination. Compassion and poverty is present in both texts in a way that relates to society itself. They differ in a way because of the social context and that Michael's struggles were caused by family issues and Langston endured poverty from the Great Depression. The texts all have sentimental value and also express many themes in depth to inform the public about struggles and to accept and not reject.